Hey everybody, this is Brent and I'm going to bring you a tech tip. I know I keep preaching in all the videos that you must, absolutely must, bag everybody's boats in the shop, okay? So let me extend that further. Check this out, let me bring you in here. When you shoot the bottom, you must also fully bag the bottom of the boat, because I don't want no overspray gel coat on the sides. I don't want it on. Now we're replacing the lower unit, so that's not a big deal, and this prop is going to go get straightened. That stuff can be wiped off. But the whole motor, the cowling underneath is fully masked completely. Look. So you want to make sure you mask off everything, because the last thing you need is a customer saying, hey, there's overspray all over my boat. Well, I document that every boat that comes through here is completely bagged every time. Even the ones that aren't finished are bagged. The only one that's not bagged is my boat, but that's because we got to sand the whole thing anyway. Got to build doors. This thing's getting flipped upside down. So my boat can get overspray on it. It's got to get sanded off anyway. And it's not that big of a deal when you're in this state. So anyway, make sure you bag everything completely. And how I did this bottom side is I run the plastic underneath and just pulled it up. And now the seam line for the tape, the top's been covered the whole time. The sides been, we haven't sprayed any gel coat in here without the sides covered. So now the hole underneath is covered. So just a tech tip, it'll save you a lot of money in the long run. And also when the customer says, hey, I got overspray everywhere, you go, sir, I've got video. It's been bagged the whole time it's been here. Anyway, hopefully you won't get a customer like that. When you do, you got to do the right thing, which is either prove it or fix it. So if you don't have proof that it was bagged the whole time, then you're going to have to fix it because it's on you. All right, so I just finished putting the PVA over the final coat of gel coat, and it is 11:05 p.m. Stuff takes time, guys. So anyway, undid the edges of the masking tape that was on the edge, but we're looking really good. It's got the PVA on it. We're solid. And yeah, so tomorrow we rinse the PVA off, polish a couple spots. I gotta polish this corner where I fixed a little scratch that's right here. So I gotta polish that, polish the bottom a little bit. Go outside, polish on the trailer, bring the trailer in, set it underneath. Customer was gonna be here at 11, but I'm gonna text him and tell him to make it like 2 o'clock so I can get all this stuff done, so I can get the boat on the trailer. I gotta change out this lower unit, the new one's in the office, and change out the prop. Customer's supposed to bring a nut for the prop, a socket for the prop. We'll change that out too. He's gonna take this and have it straightened, and he's gonna have this fixed somewhere. These will be his spare. So anyway, I always give the customer their old parts. I don't need them laying around the shop. And I'm never gonna run an Evinrude high output. And we try to order new parts every time we do an insurance job like this. So State Farm should be happy with this result. It's back to factory. And I even fixed some of the stuff that wasn't on the estimate. So hopefully I'll get some repeat customers. And that's a wrap for this evening. I am gonna go grab a shower. I've been crawling around on this floor on my back all day. All right, we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Hey everybody. So I saved you the boring part of this, and I have sanded this with 320, and then I do that on a DA sander on a 5-inch disc. And the reason I do that is because I know how much clear I have on here. I wouldn't advise anybody else to do that. Usually you would go 320 by hand with a block to knock off the top, because you'll get, no matter how much Duratec you add, you're always going to have a tiny bit of orange peel. So after I hit it with 320, I want to go down to, I go with the 600 very lightly, and then I go to 1,000, which is where I'm at now. And so I'm starting down that side there. I'll come back around with the 1,000, and when I get done with the 1,000, we'll go to 1,500, and then we'll go to 2,000. After that, we take the buffer with our cutting polish. I like to use, I got a brand new product, so I'll introduce you to the old standalone, the new stuff, and what I use on the micro compound. So if it's really hard, I use this Super Duty rubbing compound. So this is old school. Been using this for over 40 years. The new stuff here is this 10 Polar Shine. It's actually made for gel coat. So I get this from my distributor down in Pelham. So polishing compound 10. So on the scale on the bottom you can see they even have a heavier cut. But this one cuts just fine as long as you sand. Then I like to follow it up on a secondary wool pad. So you cut that with a wool pad, yellow. And then you come in, actually it's a white wool pad, sorry. It's tan in color, kind of yellow. Then I come in with a white wool, and I use this Ultra Cutting Cream by Presta. This gives it a nice shine and sheen. Then I have a micro polishing polish, which is also made by Presta. And then I go to a fast wax, which is wipe on, wipe off, pull the whole Danielson deal. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put you guys on a time lapse because this is gonna take about 4 to 5 hours to sand by hand. So you have to do it. This is the worst part of doing gel coat, but we'll get through it. I'll put you on a time lapse. And this is the last part 3 of the 3-part series of the Javelin bass boat that should leave tonight. Now, we had an air compressor blow up. I'll put the pictures right here. And had to locate a motor this morning, so last night we were dead in the water because everybody was closed on a Sunday. But anyway, we got it going again, so I had to have that to finish the 600 around the boat, and then I went to 1,000 by hand. So what you're going to see in this time lapse is the by hand. So anyway, stay with me, and at the end we'll have a finished product. We'll go out, we'll wash it, then we'll assemble the dash, the steering wheel, all the wiring in the back, splash well, and then also the shifter and all the switches underneath, and then it should be ready to go home. So join me now. Okay, so in the time lapse I went around this thing with 600 on the DA, and then I went to 1,000 by hand, 1,200 with the DA, and 1,500 with the DA, and 2,000 with the DA. The reason I do that 1,000 by hand is because I can feel any rough spots or wobbly places. Now what I'm going to do is we've gone to the heavy cut, which is a little watered down on purpose because I don't want it to cut too much, but also I have enough to go around the boat one time. And then I'll go to the Polar Shine. So I'm going to show you guys is I've got this, and when you get your polish on here, just kind of smear it around. See, it's kind of a tan wool pad, and then we're going to go for it. I do it on like 2 or 3. I start with 2 and bump it up to 3. It'd help if I had it plugged in. Hang on. Building bloopers every single episode. So pretty soon we'll have a members, and it's only going to be $3.33 a month, but it's going to be exclusive, detailed tips and tricks, as well as exactly what material you want to use, exactly the brand names and all that stuff. But I'm going to have 5-minute videos, and I'll release 1 a week. So you'll learn how to mask, how to back mask. You learn how to bag off your spots where you're going to do a spot panel repair, There'll be parts that show you how to mix gel coat, exact mixtures and measurements. You're also going to see different colors of flake, different sizes of flake. So the membership was $3.33 a month. I decided I'd keep it really cheap because me putting in the time for the videos, I got to be compensated for some part of that. So, but it'll be easy, and you can just subscribe and watch throughout the channel. Now it's not going to be as detailed, but the detailed videos are going to actually cover how to do it, how to get the results. So today, what I'm going to show you today is just a few of the basics so you can get a heavy shine on here. So here we go. So automatically just bumped it up to 3. You can hear the buffer too. You can hear the buffer working. When you get to a hole, see, this thing rotates that way, clockwise. When you get to a hole, you want to make sure you're pointed so that it's entering that hole instead of exiting, because if you catch an edge, watch. Hear that? You don't want to do that. Alright, so we're going to do this right here. You can press a little hard. You can already see the shine coming up. Careful on your edges. And it takes some muscle. Like, you wouldn't want somebody who is scared of a buffer or who's not strong. And then if I go like, if I'm nervous about an edge, I'll come in like this on number 1. So I know I'm not taking too much material. And what that does is it gets down exactly where I need. Now I've got a beveled edge here and a bottom edge. So then I turn the buffer. All right. So I notice I need a little tiny bit more. So I'm just putting a little tiny line right there. And then same thing, I'm going to dap it and roll, and then watch. Start it on the edge. So what it's doing is getting down in that groove on the bottom before the rub rail, right? And I'm going to bump it up because I feel more confident about it. I got the compound where I needed it. Now on number 3, 2.5. When I say we're on a number, see this number? 6 is too much. There's 5. There's 4. There's 3. I run about 2.5. 2.5 right here. You can hear the buffer working. See, now what we ended up with was 2,000. And what 2,000 is it saves you so you don't have to go through your compound. Yeah, it's a little more work by hand, but you're not going through the compound. This bottle of compound is 65 or 70 bucks now. So I need a little bit more. And all you're looking for is to knock the scratches out of it. So I'll lay into it pretty good. And I also got a new air buffer that's going to cover little 3-inch corners and stuff like that. So we're going to try that out today too. But this boat was supposed to leave yesterday, but the air compressor blew up. The electric motor, so I just replaced the electric motor. I'm going to post those pictures now. We had a mess going, and I was right in the middle of getting this thing ready to go. So now I'm up to 3. Once you start getting a good shine, then I pump it up to 3. Now it's good to note that this has 5 heavy coats of Duratec and gel coat. And you remember back in the old videos, you can go back, that mixture is 50-50 on the clear coat. Now, on the last coat, I mixed it 60 parts Duratec and 40 parts gel coat. So be careful on this. Your fresh gel coat is very temperamental right now. It's fresh. Okay, so now what I do is we're gonna end up going to this. It's the same type of pad, but it's a little heavier, thicker. and then I do this ultra cutting cream. But right now we're going to hit this with some Polar Shine, and this is a polishing compound 10. See the scale there? All right, so we're going to go on here just a little bit. Same pad that I used the compound with, because that's also a compound. Just spread it around a little bit and then go for it. On 3.
Now, after you buff a couple boats, you'll be more and more confident in your product, your material, and your machine. This is a very heavy machine, but I like it because you don't have to press as hard, because the machine actually weighs a lot, so it's actually helping the downforce. So this is just compound, guys. So we're going to come back here with a high cut polish. We're also going to come in with a finer machine glaze. And then we're also going to come in with some hand wax. But I'm going to do this front nose piece for you guys right now live, so you can see what the process is, how we go through it. And hopefully my microphone is working properly. I know the machine is kind of loud, but it's the only way to show you guys as we go. And so as you can see already, we got a reflection. So you can already see your hand, you can see the color of your hand, and we're just in the compound, okay? All right, so I'm going to take this wool pad off, and then we're going to jump over to the thicker pad. It's still like a tan, right? All right, and then I'm going to grab my Ultra. It don't take much. That's probably too much, to be honest. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go up, step it up to 4. That's 3.5. We'll do 3.5 for a minute. Do 3.5 for a minute. It's going to make it even shinier. Every time you come over it with polish, you're taking more and more scratches out. And at this point, the machine is taking out those 2,000 scratches, because we went over this with 2,000, right? But it's just going to get shinier and shinier. What I like about gel coat is you get instant results. The gel coat is perfectly shiny. It looks like a brand new boat. No one ever guessed it's a 1996 Javelin. Sometimes I get some comments that I make it look easy. Well, I've been doing it so long, guys, that it definitely, there's a lot of experience from a lot of people that I watch. And you got to understand that it takes a little while to get confident, comfortable, but you also make mistakes too. I mean, I got episodes where the grinder cut my stomach open, and then I got another video where the grinder, you know, came apart, hurt me pretty bad on my knee, cut my knee last year. So you get, sometimes it's not good to be confident, overconfident in your tools, because this thing, let's face it, it has a cord, and it's going, you know, 2,000 RPM. If that cord gets wrapped up, or your shirt gets wrapped up in a buffer, you're going to be really in pain, you know. So you got to just respect it, start slowing it down. I just slow it down, so in case I missed a spot. Alright. So let me grab the foam pad and the other. So now you can really see that reflection. See that? And we're still on the polish. Let me grab the foam pad and the micro polish. I should have already had that over here. And I'll grab the speed wax as well. That way we have them both
fast wax, and ultra polish, and a foam pad. All right, let's grab a microfiber towel. These microfiber towels are pretty cheap. So the reason it's taken so long to release a new episode, guys, is this boat. I have over 200 hours in just sanding the interior and this cap. So here's the ultra polish. Here's the key to this stuff, though, is make sure you shake it up. All right, so we're going to put this here because that's the fast wax. And I like to keep my clean rag away from the spray of the buffer. All right, so this is a ultra polish by Presta. The stuff smells really good, and it also leaves a heck of a nice finish on it. You'll see, so you guys can actually see the buffer working. There we go. You really start seeing the shine there. Okay, same thing. I'm just gonna kind of dap it around, dap it around, dap it around, and then I'm gonna hit it at like 3. Now you gotta be careful of the foam pad. Foam pad can grab, not grab, but it has more friction. You just gotta be more respectful of the foam pad. You also gotta be careful, like in these holes, if you run this foam pad across there too heavy, it will eat up your foam pad, and these things are not cheap. So now I'm hitting my edge right here. See how it started to slow down? Because I was laying into it a little too hard. I bump it up to 3.5. All right, so as you can see, it doesn't take long once you get that thing cut, right? So now we're going to bring in our first fast wax. This is also a Presta product. So this company, Presta, I've been using their scuff stuff when prepping auto body stuff in a body shop. So you want to shake this up really good because this is super thin. You also want to make sure that your rag is folded in half and in half twice. Check your rag, make sure it doesn't have any dirt or anything on it, because this will be your final. See how it squirts out of there, so you got to be careful. But that's all it would take to do this whole nose, and you just want to wipe it on. You can be a little aggressive with it. And I'm pressing down in this little rib, and there's another rib right here. Pressing down in the rib. Make sure we're covering that completely. And then you want to do this in the shade. Do not do this in the sun. And you want it to have a haze. And once it creates a haze, then I grab a new part of the rag. I let it haze over a little bit. Let's figure you're right here, and if I'm going down here and I'm laying it on here and I get about to the middle of the boat, I stop, I come back down here, and I want to wipe this off. Okay, and then this is our final product. This is what it looks like in the end. So now we got the whole boat to do, right? And then I'll bring you guys in close so you can actually see the finish. I'm sure you can probably see my hand completely, but we'll bring you in just to show you. how it should look. This is exactly how your gel coat should look. You shouldn't be able to feel no stripes at all. I'll bring you in with a camera to show you there's no ridges at all. Okay, let me grab that. Pull you guys off this stand. Oh, you guys are catching a terrible light. That looks horrible. Okay, so what I'm talking about is you should not be able to see any. See, there's no ridges. It's completely flat. And that's what you want. And see, that shine is just like, see, you want to be able to see your reflection. And this thing in the sun's just going to be, see how there's no ridges? There's 0 ridges here. Because there's 5 coats of 50% Duratec and 50% gel coat. Right? Look at that. That's a good, it's hard to catch a reflect. But see, there's no lines across there. And that's what you want. Because then it looks like it came out of a mold. Right? But that's how your metal flake should look when it's done. So I'm going to put you guys on a time lapse and we're going to polish the whole boat. So I'll see you guys in about 3.5 to 4 hours. I mean, you're going to watch a time lapse. All right, so we went over the whole boat one time with the 3M Super Duty compound. Then we went back over with the same pad after, I call it spiking the wool pad. Spiking the wool pad, you would clean this off. Right now it's got this residue on there. But if you let this dry out and then you take like a straight blade screwdriver and have your buffer on like 3.5 and stick the screwdriver to it, it'll take all that compound out and it'll turn back fluffy like this. So I let this dry out. But right now, we went around the second time with that same pad that we used, the Super Duty. We went around with this Polar Shine. And I get this from my distributor in Pelham, Alabama. Now we're going over it with this thicker wool pad. It's softer. And I'm going over it with a Ultra compound Ultra Cutting Cream by Presta. And so we're doing that right now. I did this inside rail and did the interior already. I got to go do that outside rail, but I got to finish compounding this one corner. I forgot this one corner right here. So I'll go back and do that right now. I just got to make sure this is out of the way. The last thing you want to do is catch the edge of plastic or something like that. The worst part of this job is what I'm doing right now. So I'm on day 3, and because the air compressor blew up, I had to do most of this by hand. Usually you take the DA and go through the steps on the sanding part of it, but I couldn't do that because the air compressor was down. So I ended up doing it by hand. By the time I got it done by hand, then the motor for the air compressor came in, of course. Anyway, so what we're going to do now is this is just rubbing compound with the shine you're seeing right now, which is really shiny. But I'm going to finish this little section right here, from here to here. We're going to go back to this pad, go back to the supercut, and we're going to go to this. I'll show you how we do that now. We're going to just take this pad off of here, lay it over there. So I know that goes with that. I already know that goes with that. Give us a little bit of cord, which also came unplugged. I'm just building up bloopers left and right. So now that the top is polished, you want to be really careful up here because you could scratch it just like you could scratch a car. All right, send this electric cord underneath. And then what we'll do is I'll show you real quick. And I'll zoom in so you can see the results. Let me get the camera refocused. Let's see if I can get you a good angle here. Let's go on the other side of the boat. There we we go. So I want you to see how dull it is from wet sanding. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll take a damp rag and I'll wipe this sanding residue off, because believe it or not, it would be more abrasive. It'd almost be like a heavy sandpaper, because technically that's the leftovers that you sand off. So this trim piece comes to way over here, so I'm going to polish an inch past that, but wipe it down. And I'll even go back further, because we're going to come in with compound after this. And then after all the compound and polish is done, then I'll take it outside and wash it. And then when I wash it, then it gets a hand wax, and then I can assemble the steering column and all that stuff, and put the recessed plate in here. I'm not going to screw anything down. I'm going to let the customer do that. I'm not going to screw this down. I filled all the holes so it would be nice and fresh. Of course, all the holes for the trolling motor were filled, so he can put whatever trolling motor he wants. Basically, he has a brand new hull to work with now. All right, so we're going to put our stick-it pad on, and then I don't want to lay this pad on this deck with a buffer, because things could stick to it. I'm going to go right here. That's almost too much. And then you got to be careful, because you're going to spray yourself in the face. So what I do is I kind of get a feel for where it's at, and then I start it with my face not there. Started on low, started on 1. And then once the compound is dispersed, then you still got to watch your eyes. I mean, it'd be best to wear some eye protection, but we're going to go right to here. And then turn it up a little bit. And what's crazy is you can feel it get smoother. All right. So you don't have to clean the pad right now. Then we jump right to the Polar Shine. And I just put a little bit, dap, 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 dap. Same thing. You're going to want to kind of rub it in and then go for it. I just come over the top with it. That way, if there's any leftover compound, you can use it to extra polish this top. You can never polish it too many times, you know what I mean? So I just use the remaining, whatever's left on the pad, go over this. Because this boat's only going to get shinier and shinier and shinier and shinier. The more you buff it, the more you wax it. Gel coat likes to be polished all the time. And the way you're going to keep this polish is to keep a cover on the boat or keep it inside. Because the sun ultimately will break down any clear. I don't care if it's UV. It'll always break it down over time. Because people don't realize when you leave your boat out in the elements, it'll get a layer of pollen, then it'll rain, then it'll get a layer of dirt, then it'll rain. Someone will spray their fruit trees, which is a chemical, then it'll rain. All that stuff adding up. Sorry, I just bumped the mic. What is that noise? It sounds like a grinder. Okay, so now I switched pads, right? I'll put this pad over there. we're keeping our foam pad down. We're going to use that for the final polish. All right. So that ultra polish stays with the foam. So right now we're going to use the ultra cutting cream. So now we're going to hit this nose. Now we can zoom out. And actually, I'm going to put you guys on a time lapse because you kind of get the concept, basically what I'm doing. So let me put you guys on a time lapse here.
I'm gonna pop some tags. Only got $20 in my pocket. I'm hunting, looking for a come up. This is awesome.
Nah, walk up into the club like, what up? I got a big. I'm so pumped up, busted from the thrift shop. Ice on the fringe, it's so damn frosty that people like.
Damn, that's a cold ass honky.
Rolling in hella deep, headed to the mezzanine. Dressing all pink, set my gator shoes, those are green. Draped in a leopard mink, girl standing next to me. Probably should've washed this, smells like R. Kelly sheets. But it was 99 cents. Copping it, walking, about to go and get some compliments. Passing up on those moccasins, someone else has been walking. Bumming, grungy, get man, I am stunting and flossing and saving my money, and I'm hella happy that's a bargain. I'ma take your grandpa style, I'ma take your grandpa style. No, for real, ask your grandpa, can I?
All right, everybody. It's the 4th day of cutting and polishing interior, exterior. We're finally getting the final polish on this. And then I'm going to put the boat together, which just consists of steering wheel, shifter, and rub rail. The rest of the stuff that goes in here that I took off, I filled the holes so the customer can drill the holes. I don't want to be responsible for that. But anyway, I'm going to do a... That's just dust from the buffer, but you can see the reflection. So I just got to rub over it with some hand polish, and then but as you can see, this is Super Duty compound was first used. This is the best stuff after you get done with the 2000 grit, and then you want to graduate to a polish, which we jumped to this ultra polish. And then as you've seen earlier, so that ultra polish was used actually after this. This is a new product I'm using, the Merca Polar Shine. So after the super cut, we used the Polar Shine. Then we went to the ultra polish. And this is a little dusty right now, but as you can see, can't see the stripe? Super important. You get a customer that pays the good money, you want to make sure that all your levels are the same. And how you do this is keep track of your layers. Keep track of your layers. Keep track of your layers. So we sprayed, remember, the chrome first, then we did the pinstripe, and then we did the blue. That's very important. So anyhow, you can see this isn't the sun, this is just in the shop lights, but see the mystic over the black? It gives it a prismatic, so you'll see red, blue, green, yellow, all those kind of sparkles. So this is the finish that you want on every single job that you do. And by watching my channel, you can achieve this just like I did. In fact, I got a couple people that message me that are doing their own project. In fact, one of them is an exact boat of this one. It's a 96 Javelin. So anyway, I just want to bring you guys in. I'm just going to put this thing together, and there's no need to do a delivery. But if you guys have any questions, please comment, like, share, and we just became eligible for monetization with over 3,000 watch hours. Thank you so much. I'm going to be doing some cool giveaway stuff later this year. I might even give away a bass boat, a completely ready to fish bass boat. So let's keep that in mind. We need to get to 10,000 subscribers, and I'll give away a bass boat that's ready to fish, turnkey, that runs. And it'll be probably something that I fix up. So it'll have probably brand new gel coat or something like that. But we're going to make it so it's really cool. It'll be a really cool prize. And then I might have some merch made soon. Something with the JFL boat build series or something like that. But anyhow, so we're going to finish putting this thing together. And then it goes home around 5 o'clock. So thanks for tuning in. This is the end of episode 3 of the JFL boat build series. I'm your host, Brent Bridgeman, and I'll see you next time. And the Javelin is going home. Happy customer. He says, unbelievable. I told him bring it by in a month and I'll put another polish on it. Going home to get rigged. All right, guys, that's another end of a chapter. That's the end of this segment. Now, to get on to all these other boats. Woo! All right, guys. I've got to go pick up some car parts, but I got to get clean. I'm dirty from putting a rub rail on a boat. Talk to you guys later. Bye.